This show is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. It doesn't matter who you are or what you have. Life can be pretty damn hard. Get some support at betterhelp.com/allies.
Hello and welcome to the Easy Allies podcast. I'll be your moderator, Brandon Jones. Joining me this week, panelists Michael Huber.
Hello.
Ben Moore.
Yup.
My bitchin' opening bit pitchin' co-moderator, Daniel Bloodworth.
Okay.
Yeah. Making it all happen in the control room, Isle Hink.
Bloodworth didn't like that.
There's a lot. There's a lot to throw at him. What's up, you two? I've been seeing a lot of you two lately.
Yeah, I know.
The last two podcasts
Frame trap.
and the last two frame traps.
Yes, we get it.
High fives all around.
We
Taking
get
over-
to cash this in
Taking
now.
over Ben Moore,
I
Huber,
feel like we're
and
earning
I.
Easy Allies credit.
The three
We
amigos.
cashed it in.
You have to pull my arm. It's a pleasure.
Let's do another one.
Pleasure to
Let's
be
do another
here.
podcast.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's do a podcast about
Ronan.
An hour and a half long.
Sure.
Distinguished guests, we are here to talk about some of the biggest headlines in the world of video games. But before we do that, we must first answer for all of the mistakes we made in last week's podcast. Do you want me to pass this on to Isla? You seem surprised when I threw this
thought
at
I
you.
had been doing it.
When we were here, traditionally, I would do it.
Oh, okay.
It's
That's
like
what happens
you like
when you're
just
gone.
suddenly like skipped back. to
You're
some
gone
other
for
time.
2 weeks. One of our teams in jury duty. It's just it's a lot going on. Isla, begin corrections music, please.
Boop.
The more pointed skull of Ghost Rider in Midnight Suns appears to be the same design he got in Felipe Smith's run of all new Ghost Rider in 2014.
I want to read the Midnight Suns comics now.
In that, I want to read a lot of comics for a lot of characters that are there. Runaways. I know very little. I know very
I
little.
don't know anything about
I know very little.
But the lady with the staff, she seems
Nico.
sick. Nico, yeah.
Robbie Reyes takes the mantle
Nice.
in that, so that's why people pointing that finger. From Marcin Zawiza, the double dip combat wasn't a real double dip. I asked a very similar question about Electronic Arts on Frame Trap, but it wasn't the same as whoever asked. This isn't me. So Marcin asked the Frame Trap
Convenient.
question. Nobody I know.
Convenient.
Agents, spies. While the MLK Fortnite event was indeed weird, players were not allowed to wield weapons during it, and the emotes were heavily reduced to just a handful deemed
Well, it
quote-unquote
reduced
appropriate.
more after the fact.
After the fact.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
There is a profit incentive for Pokemon to go Pokestop for the Pokestop distance to be smaller. Many Pokestops pay Niantic money as a sponsored stop, and they want to encourage foot
Whoa.
traffic in their business. So the bigger the distance, the less chance somebody's actually
Money
going to go to
ruining
your spot.
Pokemon yet again.
I knew it. I knew it. It makes the wheel turn and it breaks the wheel at the same time. I said the little girl in Halo Infinite is saved by ODST, but the dialogue specifically mentions that they are Spartans, most likely Spartan 3 generation, judging from the time frame
You said
of
they
the
were
events.
Odys. I should have corrected you on the spot.
But it looks like, it looked like a Spartan 4 or 5 due to the Mjolnir 7 armor.
They were
ODST
dropping
armor
in.
doesn't have that
It's an easy
protective shield.
mistake.
That's what.
No.
Well,
no.
Okay. No, I'm
no.
going with him. I'm going with that one. I was trying to get into the lore just a little
Clearly
bit.
Spartans.
Clearly Spartans. And the average grunt is about 5.5 feet tall, likely wouldn't fit in a bicycle basket. Although, with a plasma grenade, a grunt could still make it fly. End corrections music, please.
Boop.
Speaking of putting grunts in bicycles, which we almost did last week, let's play starring role. This is how we get to affect Hollywood in the past, present, and future, thanks to Daniel Bloodworth. I'm going to do 2 movies this time. So these are movies that are in a dire state. One of the most pivotal actors has walked off the set. We have to replace that actor and that role with a video game character that has been supplied to us by our $5 and above
Everyone's
patrons.
replaceable.
From Boone, Mean Girls just started production. Lindsay Lohan walked off the set.
What a surprise.
Standby actors are Geralt of Rivia, Slippy Toad, and GLaDOS.
Slippy Toad, 100%.
The thing
it's
is,
so
I
nice.
feel
I
like
think you can
Slippy
really-
Toad
I
in
think you
that
can
could
really-
like eventually just have like a mental breakdown.
Absolutely. Either Slippy Toad gets ridiculed or does the ridiculing, and either way, it's a 10. It's
That'd be
perfect.
good. I feel like GLaDOS would have some really good banter
GLaDOS would be
with
interesting, but
Rachel McAdams.
GLaDOS is like
know,
GLaDOS can't
Cypher.
go hang out with you. Like GLaDOS is stuck to the ceiling.
Right. She
Yeah.
can call you on the cell phone, maybe. Or...
Well, GLaDOS is also a potato, so
This is
there
true.
are mobile versions of GLaDOS.
GLaDOS gets around. So are we going with GLaDOS?
GLaDOS or Slippy Toad for
I
sure.
vote Slippy Toe with
It
1,000%.
sounds like Slippy.
Okay.
That'd be,
All right.
that'd be a wild ride.
That'd be interesting.
Just hearing Slippy Toad go like bitch or just like anything, it'd be great. It'd be great.
Fox cameo.
Fox like reels him in. Yeah.
Back to the Future infamously had to swap its Martys. Go back and check out the Eric Stoltz pictures from Back to the Future. But unfortunately, Christopher Lloyd also gone, walking off the set as Doc Brown. We
Oh,
need to
no.
replace him with either Dr. Robotnik, William Birkin, or Morden Solus from Mass Effect.
Oh, I like
Love
Solus
Morden
so
Solus.
Morden
much.
Solus,
I
I
love
think, is
Morden
the
Solus.
one I'm
Solus is so
definitely.
perfect.
Yeah.
William Birkin
my
a little
gosh.
too serious for
Yeah.
Back to the Future.
Yeah, I think Morden
little
fits
too
the
heavy.
vibe.
Birkin would be so nuts.
I think I understood that reference. I think I have met him. He's pretty early on, right? He's like a bureaucrat and he's in the office and you get him in trouble, or is that? Am I?
No,
No.
Morden's
No.
a scientist.
Scientist.
He's a singing
There he is.
scientist.
Yes, I know
Yeah,
that.
but
yeah,
Oh,
he's not
so he
until
doesn't
Mass
come up.
Effect 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he wrote the original Mass Effect.
Morden Solus.
I think Chad was talking about Solus when I met a guy and like, you know,
Don't let Chet
turn him into
ruin
his, like,
Morden for
secretary.
you.
Yeah.
He's great. Spoil, I guess I should say, not
Got it.
ruin.
there we go. Thank goodness. Whew. We're saved. Do we feel confident about both of those? Back to the
Absolutely.
Future
Yeah.
and Mean Girls? All right.
That was easy. Make him tougher. This was too easy. Come on.
Challenge thrown
Yeah.
down.
They pick themselves.
This week we got an early look at Dead Space. And when we say we got an early look at games, we kind of have an idea of what that means. This was a very early look. This was a look I think we could get
This
at-
wasn't
for-
even a look. This was a glimpse.
for any of these EA games, you know, that we just go through like, you know, hallways and cubicles and stuff like that. It's like, let's get into weird environments. Let's get into some super early pre-production art. Did anybody on the panel check this out
I did.
and see bits from it? Were you surprised at the transparency on display in this video? I think that's a bit more interesting than what they showed because it wasn't a ton.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess like transparency, sure, but they were transparent, I guess, for like EA, but you know, they were still, I think, answering questions that they were expecting to get asked, and they weren't going to show more than they wanted to. But yeah, I mean, with all of that said, I think they're taking a good approach. I mean, they're definitely saying the right things. Particularly, I think the section that struck me the most was dismemberment and how they're thinking about that, and how cool that's going to be when it's fully realized.
What were your expectations for this video? Did you see the tweet beforehand where they're like, hey, tune in later? You were for a very early look. Was it smart to kind of get, you know, do you think maybe expectations were built up because of that? Or do you think should they have just jumped on Twitch?
I don't think expectations were built up. I don't think they like got out there and said we're gonna, you know, have a crazy polished trailer and we're super far ahead. I don't think they were misleading about it at all. I think they were very upfront in saying like, here's where we're at, and did a good job, I think, communicating that with what they had. No, I don't. If anybody was like, oh man, I expected more, I think that would be on them.
Totally agree. 100%. Yeah. It was a little more than I was even expecting. Just because I saw on Twitter, you know, the side-by-side and everything. I wasn't expecting kind of the deep dive when they went into the gym and were like shooting the necromorph with the plasma launcher, talking about tearing flesh.
And how sometimes
So into it.
when you dismember a limb, there'll still be like a fleshy bit on
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And just like talking about, you know, later on when we have the flamethrower, you'll see the flesh burning.
Yeah.
So really getting into
Ripping
it.
off layers of skin.
Yeah, and again, like Ben said, just saying all the right things, because one of the only criticisms I have for the original Dead Space is how effective the plasma cutter is. It's like the one and only gun you need to use pretty much the entire time, from my experience. So it was nice to see them talking about like getting in there with plasma cutter, seeing the damage you do on the enemy, like picking points off.
Yeah.
So like making other guns viable.
And I think
great.
other guns are viable in Dead Space
sure.
1, but like you're just saying,
Plasma
like,
cutter is
leveling
so
at the-
efficient.
at the
Just like
field, yeah.
arm, leg, stomp, dead, next. Like,
yeah, and making
so efficient.
the dismemberment having to be a little bit more precise with it. Where
Yeah.
it's not just you're not just targeting a limb, but it's like you're targeting this section of the limb and like making it more complex depending on the type of enemy that you're fighting and so on and so forth. And I think the thing that's really cool and maybe easy to miss going through it, but this is EA Motive working on Dead Space, and they talked about kind of their passion for the old school X-Wing and TIE Fighter games, kind of fueling Star Wars Squadrons and really informing that project. And I think having played Star Wars Squadrons and been very impressed with it, it definitely does feel like a passion project. It definitely feels like something that these people were thrilled to, come into the office and work on. And it's, I feel like that kind of creativity and that passion is kind of spearheading the studio, and you can feel it when they're
100%.
talking about Dead Space. Like,
100%.
they really, really, really like this game a lot. I think the only thing that I'm nervous about, maybe unfairly, is Dead Space 1, obviously a stone cold classic, no question. But when they're talking to Dead Space fans and they're really worried about their feedback and they have this love of the original game, I hope that doesn't prohibit them from trying out new ideas and really being creative and stuff, because I do think there's an opportunity, and we've seen it with things like RE2 Remake, for example, where I think you can be extremely faithful and honor the past while also making it feel new and fresh and exciting, full of ideas.
Two huge changes and additions are the way you move in 0G. In the first one, you kind of leapt around, and then, of course, in
super
2,
jump.
in 2 you get more precision, more control.
Yeah.
So they showed a section where you go off into a new area. They're like, new possibilities, new areas to surprise even returning players. And then the other one, obvious, huge one is Isaac is voiced in this one. Obviously voiced in 2 and 3, but not in the first one, silent protagonist. So that
Interesting.
obviously brings up so much more that
Well,
they can get into.
they did talk about that, though, where they're like, we want to be careful with how Isaac is voiced in the first one. And like they specifically said we want to treat it as a speaks when spoken to, and that he's only going to talk when it makes sense. Otherwise, he's going to be silent.
Yeah.
They said in the first game, Isaac's looking for his wife Nicole, but he said in the story, but he's like in the game, not so much. Like it's not something he actively does a lot. He's really just kind of exploring the ship. They said we want to change that as well. Bring her in more as a moment.
Want it to be
reminder.
one continuous shot. The
Yeah,
whole time,
God of
no
War, I
breaks.
forgot that too. Yes.
Yep.
Wow.
Crazy.
Good
And then obviously
inspirations.
Lighting, like that's like the only thing I've really ever cared about visually in games is lighting. It's like my favorite thing, like more than resolutions, more than anything is
They talked
lighting.
about it a ton.
And this lighting is gonna take it to the next level. It has that potential. So excited about that, just visually.
Blood, they created a community council.
Yeah.
Really? What does that mean?
It means the top Dead Space players. They didn't get into specifics of how they decided this, but the people who
what
are
is a top Dead Space
probably
player?
people who are still streaming, people in the
it,
modding
yeah.
community, people they're probably very active maybe on their social media and forums or whatever. Like the Suicide Squad of Dead Space fans brought them in, showed them extremely early stuff, even earlier than the stuff that we got to see. How does that sound in terms of development? How risky is that? Or, as Ben was saying, like, I hope they don't get so much influence from them that they are, feel prohibited from working on, thinking up creative things or taking the game in fun new directions.
I think you have to be really careful, because fan feedback can be so valuable, and they can really help you kind of tap into the soul of something. But, when you're that level of fan, I think you get so attached that you want things to be a certain way and feel a certain way, and it's hard to, I think, articulate this point, but that can be very good. But you can't become like a total slave to that. Like you have to know like what to keep and what to get rid of, and that's the hard part, right? That's the part of the artist is having that skill, because I think if you just kind of only listen to the consensus, your project will only go so far. It will only be so good. You know, at best, it will be as good as the original thing, and that's it. It won't go past it.
I've enjoyed over the years being proven wrong when like a creator took a character I loved or a show or adapted something, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure about that, and then later like, oh, okay. Yeah.
And the
It's
absolute.
a good movie. That worked.
Like, people complaining about, why remake this now? And it's, this is the first game I ever platinumed. This came out at a time in between, like, Resident Evil 4 and 5.
Right.
That was a long time ago in my life, so I'm excited to revisit it. But I think more than that, of just, like, remaking a game is, like, getting to use new technology. Like, it's going to feel... Like I remember just seeing it, and it's like, oh, it looks like I remembered it did back then. The new one looks like how I thought.
With those you put your goggles on.
Yeah, the old one looks.
Well, I think the question of
360's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
why remake this is a little bit different in this case, because it's not like it's the same team at Visceral Games returning to Dead Space 1.
Right.
This is a new team that I think grew up with Dead Space and really enjoyed Dead Space. And so I think this is them, trying to tap into what Dead Space is and trying to put their fingerprints on it. And my hope is that, they knock this out of the park. It's super well received. Everyone loves it. And they kind of establish that foundation through this remake of Dead Space 1. And then they can go and they can carry this franchise forward, because that's absolutely what it deserves. I mean, the squandering of Dead Space.
You can only go up from here after Dead Space 3.
Yeah,
period.
and I personally, I hope that is exactly what they do. That it's a Dead Space 4 or some other new project. As great as Dead Space 2 is, of course. But I hope that they can take this franchise to new places once they hopefully succeed here.
Blood, does this only make sense because it's a remake to do this like super early look at the game? Because they're like, hey, we didn't make this game. We're just stepping in. We're fans.
Oh, sure.
And so here's what's coming out of the garage super early.
Yeah,
hot off the presses. What do you think?
I think them being a live stream and kind of doing interviews and talking about like the nitty gritty this early. It's definitely something you don't see a whole lot in terms of them just showing the game though and talking about it. Like I feel like EA's got these like two extremes. Like either the game is like Battlefield and it comes out in 4 months the first time that you see it, which even there though they've had the kind of similar thing where they've got this behind the scenes community of people giving them feedback, or it'll be like Skate. We're like, we're gonna do this thing. We haven't hired anybody yet.
The Skate trailer,
Skate.
Come on over.
where they like showed it to people and those people got in front of the camera and they're like, yeah, it looks awesome. It was so frustrating.
Same kind of vibes. We'll get to also this week, but Naughty Dog being like, hey, let's make a multiplayer game. Anybody want to come over and make a multiplayer game? And you're just like, it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be good, but it's gonna take a bit.
Well, they've been talking about that for some time, but they're still
need
hiring.
lots of positions filled.
I think the other thing with EA that is very real, like I truly think this is beyond speculation, is simply put, EA is known for fucking things up. Like that's just a fact. And if you go back to when Respawn launched Apex Legends and they were like, hey, we did it this way, we just released it because can you imagine the PR nightmare if we were like, we're not making a new Titanfall, we're making a free-to-play battle royale coming out on the EA banner. Do you imagine like the uphill battle that would be?
Yeah.
And so I definitely think there's some self-awareness there of being like, we know you care about this, and we want you to know that we also care about it and are trying our best not to mess it up or put anything gross in it or, for lack of a better word, EA it.
Isla, did you see the Dead Space stuff? Any like tweets or anything? Or
Huber showed me like a picture, and I was like, wow, the lighting is incredible.
but they showed some super early, again, just like, Isaac looks great. We're seeing, an alien that Isaac's fighting, and
Necromorph.
then
That was hard, Brand.
I couldn't do it. I asked my brain.
hurt.
I asked my brain to come up with it, and it couldn't do it. So I filled it in there. But thank you for. I don't know if that was worth a correction, but thank you. I mean, from YouTube. But everything else in the environment is very just kind of, Disney Infinity put a gray wall back there, and we'll specifically focus on physics and effects and stuff like that. you infamously, Isla, talk about games that announce too early, show too early, get in the public mind too early. Is there like a danger in that, or do you think that's charming to be like, oh, look at them, they're making a remake, that's fun?
I think in this kind of case, when it is a highly anticipated remake, like making people part of the process on that is a good idea, because then you can be like, hey, we're changing this. Is that going to piss you off? And then if people are like, yeah, then you'd be like, okay, we won't do that. Then. So I think design by committee kind of works in this sense. But yeah, if it's a new IP, like 6 months is too much. Like, come on.
I did kind of have this sober moment, though, as I was watching the Dead Space stuff. And it looks great, and I'm super excited about it, and I love Dead Space. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, part of what made Dead Space so cool is that it was this brand new thing. It was this brand new world, and it was this totally new take on survival horror that ended up becoming like this beloved classic. And there was definitely a part of me that was like, as awesome as it is that Dead Space is coming back, I wish there was that new big entry into survival horror that was kind of, writing its own rules and that sort of thing. Because I think that's what the legacy of Dead Space is to me, at least in my memory.
I get that, but at the same time, there's not enough top-tier space isolation games where you're just like on a ship fighting for your life.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
That's why it was so cool, is because it was
But like, I'm
forging this new territory.
just like at the base, though. Yeah, like I guess I'll look at it just from that instead of like this brand new thing. So I get that of like...
Yeah, but I mean, you're like,
It's like
the reason why it hit you so hard is because there was nothing else to...
Like System Shock
Yeah.
2? I'm trying to think, a lot
Well,
of...
even that,
Doom
like
3,
think about the
like-
gap between System Shock and Dead Space.
Right.
Like it really was. And Dead Space really, like Dead Space 1 and 2, really kind of came to life at a time where things were getting dominated by, modern military shooters. The apex of Call of Duty popularity, and it was just like this totally different thing. And we have to be patient, right? Like I do think that this is a big important step for EA Motive, hopefully, and that it will, I don't know what it's going to turn into. I don't even know exactly what the full scope of the remake is going to be, but I think it's not even, my issue isn't even totally with Dead Space. It's just like, I feel like every other game I play these days that like is new and comes out is like a remake or a remaster. And I love that. I love revisiting old games or playing them for the first time if I missed them. But I think it's just like, it's gotten to a point where there's just so many all the time that, it leaves me hungry for new ideas sometimes.
There's also something about horror that really kind of demands, unless you have a really creative approach, but really demands, like you said, good lighting, good resolution, good sound. There's a lot of things that, like, if any one of that thing that hits the mark, you get some weird bug. It's like, oh, well, even if this game's got 2 more hours into it, I'm already kind of taken out, unfortunately. Played the first Dead Space once, played Dead Space 2 3 times in a row, just back to back to back, because it had that New Game Plus.
Yeah.
Could not stop playing Dead Space 2. Announcing the brand new PlayStation 5.
Oh, yeah. Well, nobody announced anything, really. But
Right.
They showed the screw or something, maybe?
It's not going to be. We got screwed. They're not going to show that. They're probably not going to talk about it a lot because this is, again, it's not a price change. There's no new crazy functionality. This is just performance. But
It's not even for that.
And before I get into specifics, well, depending on if you, it potentially demands more performance because there's a fan that works better. But it's like if the fans can working better, we can get into it. But Blood's already frowning at me. I just want to say before we get into specifics, maybe I should just turn it over to Blood. Apologies to anyone out there who does not have a PlayStation 5 because how frustrating must it be to talk about the new model and they're like, I'll take I'll take a CFI 1100 or a CFI 1000. It doesn't either or good. Did you know that the PlayStation 5 you own, Huber, is a CFI 1000?
I did not.
Dun, 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 dun. So what do you know off the top of your dome, Bloodworth, about the new
Off the
PlayStation
top of my
5?
dome. Okay, so they changed the screw so that it has grips on it, so you don't need a screwdriver to screw the base in
For
anymore.
the base.
The Wi-Fi, they changed the arrangement of a little bit. No, not clear on whether that makes a difference or not, or if it's just a part swap. And
Wire up.
The
Plug
fan,
in.
Jack in.
Jack in. Come on.
The fan is different, and so the fan is quieter now. Then the controversy part is the heat sink has been changed. So the heat sink is smaller and there's more aluminum in it now than copper. And so then Austin Evans did kind of like a thermal camera, and it's like, oh, the exhaust coming out of the PS5 is hotter. Remains to be seen like what the actual internal temperatures are. But from what I've been seeing from some other people like Digital Foundry and stuff, it's like, well, this is all still within expected ranges. It's not going to really make any difference.
They said weirdly it's like a tiny bit quieter.
Yeah. The fan is quieter.
Yeah. Which is
It's got more blades.
Yeah.
That's something because my PS4 Pro was the loudest
Well, I
system I'd
just
ever
plugged the PS3 the other day, and like, oh, this
and
was
the PS5
loud, huh?
comparatively has been relatively quiet.
But yeah, it's just one of these things where like people are kind of getting alarmed over like a couple of like temperatures difference on the exhaust when they don't even know like what the temperature on the chip itself is. And from what I've been seeing from Digital Foundry and some other people that have are talking about this, it feels to them like really Sony just played it safe with the original heatsink. It was like, let's just make this thing huge and see how it does to make so that they don't run into any issues. And so now that it's been out there in the real world, all right, we know what we're operating at. We know how things actually work. Now we can use some cheaper parts and still keep it within the performance range that we need to keep it in.
Because it's a double-sided thing. I'm definitely not going to take the side. I'll pass that off to you, Bloodworth. Specifically saying what these parts are doing. But it's a two-sided story. The other side is why are these parts in there? Like why are these specific updates being made by Sony? And a lot of the fingers are pointing toward just saving as much money on production costs as they can before the holidays.
They just became profitable on the PS5 disc version like this last month. So it's been being sold at a loss until now.
The heatsink has fewer heat pipes, 4 versus 6.
I use discs so little that I think my Blu-ray copy of Resident Evil Extinction has been in my PS5 for like 6 months.
I saw someone tweet the other day. They're like, "Whoa, I haven't bought a PlayStation 5 disc
I
yet."
got Resident Evil.
The only discs I bought were at launch. Yeah.
Because somebody gave me a gift card. So
Crazy.
I have the digital version.
I don't know if there's a disc in my PlayStation 5. I can't even tell you what it is.
I
and
do
my PS4
love,
games, it's nice to be able to pop them in too.
I do love new console iterations. I absolutely love it. It's like a patch, basically. These are patch notes.
It's Pop Fiction vibes. You know, you crack the thing open, you look at the registration number.
These are literally
Type that
things that like
feels-
before now, like nobody would have even noticed or known that it happened.
Yeah, because like with PS4, there's a bunch of different versions of PS4 and even Pro. And I just like following this. This just seems like a smaller one, and before an eventual big one.
Yeah, my jimmies are not rustled.
How much? Yeah, what would it take to rustle your jimmies in terms of PlayStation 5 hardware? Do you think that there's anything that can be done at this point to affect
Boy,
their
if
sales?
they could make it a little smaller, that might be nice.
Yeah,
Smaller.
Yeah.
Waiting
Smaller
for
would definitely
new
be
colors.
nice. Yeah.
Waiting for new colors.
Yeah.
Match those dual senses.
Although at the same time, I'm not the
Yeah.
kind of person to go buy a second iteration of a console. I never even got a
Well,
Pro.
I
Wait
mean-
for
Yeah.
a Pro.
Yeah,
if a Pro comes out.
Absolutely. The Pro comes, I'm there, but yeah.
These smaller ones. Yeah, not so
I would
much.
prefer not to have a Pro come out.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hold on
With you
that.
there.
Hold off on that for at least like 3
But
years,
it's,
huh?
yeah, anything
At
I can
least.
do to make games look and perform better. Yeah. Yeah. I was like burning my PC last night. I felt like I was starting a fire, just like testing out games on Ultra. Let's go.
Well, that was one of the things with the Digital Foundry report on it. Like, all right, I know this part of Control that just like, basically melts systems,
Right.
so I'm gonna like have that going for hours on end and see how it performs.
That's it. That's a great idea for a new show. Burn it.
Burn it. That's so great.
I can't. Yeah, Steam keeps asking me to review Valheim, and I just want to give it like a 1-sentence review, and just it makes my knees hot.
Well, with
Valheim.
with PS4, I remember following those iterations closely because it was so loud. You
Yeah,
know?
sure.
I really
That's
wanted to
very
get
fair.
the new PS4 that was like quieter.
Yeah.
It was such an issue for me. With PS5, I've only had it for it hasn't been that long, so I don't really
Yeah.
know.
Still waiting for games.
Yeah, I don't I don't really know anything
Just kidding.
Other than like performance or
You're not really wrong.
size, I don't really know anything that would really like make me, envious or need a new version.
Yeah, it's not a huge deal. But if they could come out with a DualSense, then they're like the battery lasts twice as long.
Yeah,
Right, right.
that
Pretty
would be something.
Stoked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
sure.
it's a different color.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the main
yeah,
purpose, the main reason that anybody's worried is it's like, well, if you haven't got a PS5 yet, if are you going to get one that's like not going to run correctly or something,
yeah.
and I think that's just, I think people are just kind of blowing that out of the water. Like it's really not any different. It's something that you're not going to notice. It's just parts getting, essentially. They're just making it more efficient in a way, So in terms of their costs and what materials they're using.
Boy, the haptic feedback though on that DualSense, I like it.
My favorite thing I forgot to bring up when we were talking about Ghost of Tsushima was when you're on grass with your horse.
Yeah.
And then you go up onto some rock. And how different it feels.
Sure, yeah.
Blew my mind.
Oh, I mean, every time I ran my horse into
my-
like a wall or something, I felt so bad. Just the hands.
It
Like,
felt so
rough.
crazy.
You know what? Every time somebody brings up Ghost of Tsushima, I remember there was some Easy Allies comment. I don't remember what the venue was, but they were like, "Yeah, I just wasn't that visually impressed with Ghost of Tsushima." And I'm like,
It's my favorite looking
How
game.
is it even possible? Like, what is your standard if that's not a good looking game to you? What? How are?
That's bait.
That's probably bait. That's exactly what it probably is.
so the PlayStation 5, it's got some good features. It's got some fun things you can do in the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
But you need to say if you owned a PlayStation 4 game and you were like, "Hey, I got a PlayStation 5 now. I'm upgraded that PlayStation 5."
Oh yeah, man.
What in the hell?
Be nice to have a clear path to do so.
Yeah.
You could say Xbox is kind of leading the charge
Yeah,
this gen.
what the hell?
However, that's working out lucratively for them. Shout out to Nibellion on Twitter, who dug
The guy
into
with I know him as the guy with the Mob Psycho avatar.
who dug into the Forbidden West FAQ via the PlayStation support website. So it's the people working really hard to make Horizon Forbidden West are probably this week being like, what? What weird language? But it's fun to pick this stuff apart.
Hell yeah.
2 lines specifically that seem to contradict each other. 1, can I upgrade my PS4 version to the PS5 version? If you want to have access to both the PS4 and PS5 versions of Horizon Forbidden West, please purchase the digital deluxe collectors or regala editions. Dual entitlement
Was this Final Fantasy 15?
Yeah, what the hell?
does not apply to the standard and special editions.
Dual entitlement?
Dual entitlement.
I love that.
Dear sir, I would like dual entitlement on this video game.
That is 10 out of 10 brand manager
When most of the
language.
time in life, I can't even get one entitlement.
That's so terrible. Like,
Dual entitlement.
because to me, it's just, it's like, if you have only a PS4 right now and you don't know when you're going to be able to get a PS5, it's just like, well, don't buy that game.
Yeah.
Don't buy that game until you get a PS5.
Yeah. Honestly.
Play Aloy and Genshin Impact.
Right?
Yeah.
There you
Genshin.
go.
Just play Genshin Impact.
Because I'm never going to recommend somebody buy a Regala edition. I
That's-
said
how
in
much
Slack
is that?
that
It's probably like $100.
right. Yeah. Like, that's not worth it. I mean, you might as well just buy both versions at that point. Like, what? Yeah.
Where's the edition that comes with a real rideable Robo Dinosaur? Where's that edition?
The funny thing is they're going to fix it by giving you a $10 upgrade path, eventually.
Yeah. It's just frustrating. We went through this with Control. Control had just the weirdest, and like Remedy was pushing back, and like they couldn't even really
Right.
change course. So it's just, you don't like to see this, You should.
But you described it very
Follow-
well. This is just frustrating.
It's just really, it's really frustrating. It's unnecessary. It comes off greedy.
Absolutely. Well
It's-
said.
Yeah, it's just, why are you doing this?
Yes.
Why are you doing this? Especially like you started this off, Jones. You're saying, Xbox is leading the charge with their smart delivery,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's inexcusable. And I wouldn't be surprised if they changed course, but if they don't, it's just.
Well, plus the fact that they've had to like try to mitigate the confusion of like, am I playing the PS5 version or not? Like, I even had that this week with Maneater. I'm like, okay, is it the PS5
yeah.
version that I got down, or is it the PS4 version? I'll make sure.
Have you ever like accidentally installed both the PS4 and PS5
Right.
versions on your system, and then you gotta
My
go
PS5 started to update the PS4 version of Avengers, which like isn't even like on my PS5. I was like, "What's that? Stop it!" It's like, this will take 20 minutes. I'm like, "No, it won't."
In
Get outta here.
situations like this, you gotta ask yourself, like, do you really need to wring the cloth this hard? You know, come on.
Or when you have to like install the PS4 version to get the save to
Right.
then
Right. Yep.
install the PS5 version and move the save over. It's like,
Yeah.
what do I have clouds for? Like, what is this?
Like all this cross-gen stuff, it's inevitable, but it always makes me excited when there's that hard cutoff point in the generation where it's like, no, we are just moving on. It's just
I wonder
these
when that'll be.
console now.
I feel like it's gonna be a while.
yeah, oh yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
a
I mean,
while.
Forbidden West
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
February, right? So
So do you think Sony is kind of saying like, well, this is an uncomfortable situation. We might as well benefit from it as the creators of the console, developers of this, publishers of this video game. It's a weird thing whether you own a PS4 or PS5, and
Because
financially that's got to hurt you more than us.
for me, it's like a build-up, that makes it even more unacceptable. I'm not, I love Ghost of Tsushima. My God, I love this game, 10 out of 10. But we talked about it on Frame Trap that like that's an expensive expansion, especially.
Oh yeah, we
if-
were all on Frame Trap. I
Yeah,
forgot about
especially if you had bought the game right when it came out, like day one or whatever, the initial fan base. So you're getting charged like on the back end too. So it's just like you were saying too, Blood, of just like if I have PS4, like I'm not gonna buy this now. It's like penalizing.
No, seriously, it's
just
it's getting to the point with games where it's like,
why buy it day one?
yeah, most of the time it's like, why would I even bother buying this at launch? And it's different for every person. But if you're somebody that is extremely invested in video games, you're fortunate enough to to have multiple platforms to play on. Like Brave Default 2 just came out on Steam, and it's like, man, I haven't even gotten through that game yet. I should have just waited for this better looking, better performing version. And it's exactly like what you're saying with Ghost of Tsushima. It's like, why?
Yeah.
There's so many instances now where it's like, you're gonna get a better experience if you just wait it out.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons that I kind of stopped like participating in like Steam sales and stuff like that. The first year that you like find out about the summer sale and like, oh, I'll get that, and I'll get that, and I'll get that, and then you realize like I haven't played any of these things.
Yeah.
Well,
And
at
just
Steam
with-
sales, it's easier to swallow when I get it for like $3.
Right.
Then yeah.
But I'm just saying that to me it's sort of the same kind of thing to where like before I was really like a part of the industry and like had it as my day job. There's just like kind of one of these things where I started to realize like I just buy the game when I'm ready to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than
Totally.
getting things day one that I'm not gonna have time for just yet. Because like I mean it's like take like Far Cry 6, right? You guys were just talking about that, and it's like that game's gonna be $30 in 2 months.
Oh, dude, 2 months. 2 months is generous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny.
It is absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$30.
Yeah.
Wait for that. Yeah, so I feel like they should, because that's the case now. I feel like the publishers need to help the early adopters in this case. If we know that the game is going to be better, then why should the people that are interested in supporting it be penalized for getting in on the ground level? I mean,
Does this
like smart delivery?
Well, does this reveal how much Sony is like not afraid at all of cloud, Game Pass, smart delivery, any of these systems that Xbox people in that ecosystem have come to appreciate and talk about a lot? I just see on social media, it's just so many people being like, "Hey, this is cool. Some game just came out. It's like next to it. Just
That's
go play
frustrating
it."
things is not
Yeah.
consistent, right? Like
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima had this weird thing where like if you pre-ordered it, it was 20, and then after
Yeah.
a certain date, it became 30.
And the performance is free.
right.
The performance upgrade is free. so-
Spider-Man was a little confusing with Miles Morales. I remember that.
Keeping
Was,
track of
That
this
was
stuff.
a collector's edition, or if you bought the collectors of Miles Morales,
you just had to look
you
at the
got
fine print. It
original.
wasn't straightforward.
Oh my God, there's so many fucking annoying things. Like, it's getting to a point where it's like, if your social security number ends in an even number, we will give you $5 off if you get it through the Epic Game Store, but only on the
Just
first
the voucher. You collect your coupon through the Epic Game
week.
Store
Yeah.
and then apply
Oh
it.
my God.
But it's like to have established that they have upgrade paths for their own games. And then to say this game coming out in February does not have any kind of upgrade path. You just have to buy it again.
I mean,
What?
To me, it's more than
That
this
has to
game. This
change.
is one of the
Dude, I just want to do some fucking samurai duels. Leave me alone.
This
you
is
know?
one of the biggest PlayStation 5 games of 2022, right? I mean, unless God of War is happening.
Either way,
it probably
even
will,
if God of War is happening.
but it's still going to be one of the biggest games. Yeah.
So it just taking such a hard stance on this, and again, like this is deep into an FAQ. I could just see some poor, administrative person being like, I don't know, dual entitlement. I guess I don't know how you describe that. Or like, do you think that was lingo passed down from above?
Oh yeah, that's pretty. Yeah.
I want that to.
Dual
I want there to be
entitlement.
like gamer profile titles and it's like I want mine to say dual entitlement.
Yeah. How many consoles are you own? Huh? What are you doing with those consoles over
Oh,
there?
that's so
Why you got
funny.
so many consoles?
I just love that we back to back had the stories where like one we're like, yeah, we're defending Sony, and the next one's like rip them a new one.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get back to
It's like,
we'll get
Well, I
back
mean,
to
with
Sony hype.
all, with
No
all
free
of
passes.
them. No, with all of them, there's things to praise and complain about.
Exactly.
I have more
it's
Sony
just funny
hype
to
coming
have
very
them
soon.
happen like on the same
Yeah.
podcast.
Because this is
yeah.
way different than like Skyward Sword HD being full price.
Oh right,
Yeah.
Like
it's
this-
way different.
Yeah.
Right.
But-
Exactly.
but I
Because I
think
saw
making
some
this
people
game
trying
at
to
the
bring
same
that
time.
into it, and it's like, no, that's way different.
I think the attitude is somewhat similar in like Nintendo is like you will pay $60 for Zelda and they're proven right every time. And I think Sony with its first party lineup, the quality is there and so they will that has value that they will charge for. Like it is definitely not a one-to-one situation. I'm not trying to say that, but I think it is that
philosophy is kind of similar.
yeah, kind of similar, yeah.
But I think it's even. I think the thing is to me that this seems even weirder because I can kind of see the justification for an upgrade path for something like Tsushima, where it's like, okay, we came out with this game last year. We're gonna put the team and invest in some more, functionality.
Iki Island,
put in
high budget.
haptics, do all this stuff
For sure.
Right.
And it's like this is worth more. But when you're saying, okay, we're gonna make a PS4 and a PS5 version at the same time, and they're gonna cost different, and you can't bridge the gap from the PS4 to the PS5 in any way. You just have to buy the PS5 version separately. It's just what?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
You know what word says PS4 to PS5 bridge to me? Regala.
Regala.
That just kind of wraps. That just wraps it all up.
Regala.
You're not going to know until you
Hop
play
in.
the game.
Regale yourself.
10 hours into the game, you'll finally understand the name of the version that you bought. I just queued myself up for a correction, didn't
It comes with a Rolex.
No. Some Horizon fan's going to be like,
Yeah.
Apparently, regala is an archaic word meaning gift, bonus, or treat, or
In
an
that world,
offering
or
of
just in-
superior food or drink. That's
In-
regalo is the singular of it.
in like
Okay.
Espanol or what?
Well,
That is so
Or is
there's
that
a
from like the
modern
Horizon
language.
wiki?
there's a modern
Two
Spanish
calculations. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
word, yes, but there's an archaic English word. Apparently, I don't know. I just googled it.
Nice.
The numbers have been crunched. Big time.
yes. There's
Although it
too
says-
much math there.
Here it says it just automatically did this in Google. It says translate regala to English noun gunnel,
Cool.
and then it just stops. And I'm like, what does gunnel mean?
Can I play my PlayStation 4 version on a PlayStation 5 console? Yeah. You can play a PS4 version of Horizon Forbidden West on your PS5 console.
A gunnel is an elongated, laterally compressed fish.
But it's still the
You
PS4
are.
version.
So then the fish is named after the other definition,
I guess.
probably.
When is the PC version?
That's it. That's the. I don't.
2025.
We didn't dig that deep into the fact. I don't. Maybe it's on the FAQ. Who knows? But
Are you anticipating any kind of addressing of this at the upcoming PlayStation
No.
showcase?
no.
Not even.
No.
Okay.
I want them to
Highly
call it
unlikely.
though
Okay.
the PlayStation Regala Showcase. That's what I want.
Because the
The
control.
State of Regala.
Yeah. Because the control situation became a little bit of a thing.
Because it was so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
but didn't really slow him down.
Nope.
Breaking records.
Yeah.
Breaking sales records right and
This
left.
will be a tweet or something,
Yeah.
or like PlayStation blog post.
I feel like that's how most video game stories go nowadays, where
It'll be a tweet.
people are upset about it or pretend to be upset about it, and then it sells gangbusters.
It's going to sell a lot.
But Huber, there is an in-game board game in Forbidden West
Ooh.
Oh,
called Strike.
This already sounds very cool.
It is played with carved wooden and metal pieces in the shape of machines.
Whoa.
Aloy can challenge many different NPCs to a
Yes.
match.
Awesome.
nice.
I always love this stuff. Orlog and Valhalla recently. Obviously, Gwent.
There was one game of Orlog and Valhalla I had to play. And I was like,
Orlog.
had to bring in Amanda. I think Amanda won it for me.
Oh my god, I love it.
Shout out.
Yeah, it's fun.
And now, a word from our sponsor. If you are carrying a credit card balance month after month, it can feel like you're in a never-ending cycle of debt. Upstart can help you make that final payment so you can get ahead. Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan all online. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, over 500,000 people have used Upstart to get one fixed monthly payment. Upstart knows you're more than just your credit score and is expanding access to affordable credit. Unlike other lenders, Upstart considers your income and current employment to find you a smarter rate for your loan. With a 5-minute online rate check, I can confirm this is 5 minutes. I'm playing a Marvel game right now that auto battles. I do not waste time, okay? I want things to be efficient. I want my Captain America to fight for me. It's less than 5 minutes. I have done it. You can see your rate up front for loans between $1,000 to $50,000. You can receive funds as fast as 1 business day after accepting your loan. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/easyallies. That's upstart.com/easyallies. Don't forget to use our URL to let them know we sent you. Upstart's been involved in the podcast for a while. Thank you, Upstart. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/easyallies. And if you are a patron of Easy Allies, thank you.
Jones, you want to know what I was playing on my phone last night?
I do.
Last night.
I do.
Dude, it wasn't this near game even?
No.
Are you still as focused on that near game as you were?
I am not. No,
Okay.
I've been distracted with review because like when I play Nier, I care about the story, and so I can't just like zone out and play it. So I got thrown off because of Psychonauts 2 and No More Heroes, but I will go back to Nier. But I was playing Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I was
Yep.
playing Grand Theft Auto 3 on my phone.
So crazy.
I don't think those are currently downloaded on my phone, but I own that in Vice City and San Andreas. I know, like.
I am amazed because like I'm very old and grumpy when it comes to like touchscreen controls. I am amazed at like how smoothly I can run it with just a touchscreen. Yeah.
Yeah. They should remake that game. What do you say?
Yep.
Be fun.
Yeah.
Def-
Isn't the
Mafia-
remake rumored to be coming to
Dude,
phones
Mafia
as well?
Definitive Edition style, but GTA 3 would be perfect. Be so perfect.
I feel like I would get the GTA remakes on like 3 different things, like PC, mobile, and Switch.
Yeah.
Switch would be that. Switch one and done. That'd be everywhere. Up the
Steam Deck,
staircase, back down to
baby.
my car.
Those GTA games pretty good.
We'll
I don't
see.
know if
We'll
anybody
see on
Talk about
Steam
GTA
Deck.
forever.
pretty good. Pretty
GTA
good.
makes you think of that PlayStation there.
Pretty good.
And as we were saying earlier, there will be a PlayStation Showcase. PlayStation Showcase 2021. This is it, folks.
God of War.
There's some hype right there,
God of
right?
War,
That's a
God of
hype
War.
title, right?
God of War, I'm ready.
The PlayStation Showcase 2020, not State of Play Plus.
I think this could really be a lot of things.
Name one.
Final Fantasy 16.
That's all you get. That no one else gets that. That was Ben's pick. Final Fantasy
Well,
16.
that's not my pick.
I just said name
My
one.
pick
Why
is
wouldn't your
Silent
pick be the
Hill.
thing you name? Why would
I
that
didn't know it
be-
was locked in, that I was
You
precluded.
said
from-
one.
Well,
If Silent Hill was your pick, why did your brain immediately go to Final Fantasy 16? If you
on.
love Silent Hill more than
Good
Final
on.
Fantasy 16.
listen,
really good.
I
I
said
am a
name
man
one
of
thing.
many passions. I don't know what's going to come out.
I said name one, and that's the first. I just want to know why it would
Sure,
it
my
jumped to your
number
But
mind.
then I like has to pick Silent
My
Hill.
number one pet
Has to be
peeve
represented.
on
I
Twitter
definitely would.
Okay, there we go. We
is
got both
like 2 have to go. Or like pick 2 out of 3.
No,
Why
no.
can't we have them all?
Yeah.
Because
you
because-
don't
Pick 'em
see-
all.
Yeah, you
I'll
don't
tell you
answer
why.
that question. That stupid fucking Twitter shit is they're like, if you could take the red pill or the blue pill and these games would exist and these games won't exist, you know what my answer to that is? No.
They all
No.
exist.
No, I'm not choosing. I'm going to play both.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell you why.
Agreed.
Exactly.
Because we're going to be back. It's probably going to be the two of you
Exactly.
again. We're going to be back next week, immediately after this showcase on the Easy Allies podcast, to talk about all of the things that are happening.
Yes.
So we don't need to spend 30 to 40 minutes going over
Yes.
Final Fantasy 16 and Silent Hill
We're gonna
and
be
everything
that's
else.
it. We decided it
Bloodborne
right here.
2.
We're on every
Okay.
Easy Allies podcast going forward.
Silent Hill or Bloodborne 2
Bloodborne
has a
2
better
is
chance
not
of getting
happening.
in. Okay, there we go.
Oh,
But
everyone
a
got that
Bloodborne
Elden Ring
patch.
demo.
Bloodborne patch
Is
is
that gonna
happening.
be
Oh,
there?
there's gonna be
Bloodborne patch is happening.
There's gonna be a 16-minute Elden Ring gameplay demo. Yeah.
Cool.
Are you serious? Is that
And
fact?
and
Dude, Vati Video watched it, dude.
Whoa.
And
That's what I'm saying.
they
It's like
a lot of
showed
people
a
watch
bunch of
that.
people
That
behind
is
closed
true.
doors. Gamescom
Which,
demo.
that is
Yeah.
another situation where Easy Allies got cruelly
We got
and coldly
shafted.
snubbed.
The question is, do I
Left out in the
do
rain.
I
We
gotta talk about it
even
more.
want to see 16 minutes of Elden Ring?
You do.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
you do.
don't.
You
I mean,
do.
not.
That is a 3,000-hour game.
Yeah, that is a-
16 minutes
Sure,
is
all right,
fine.
that makes
Yeah,
That is
you know
that
what?
is a leaf
I don't
flying
care
on
if
the
it's
wind.
10,000 hours. I don't want to see. I'm good. Like I want to experience it firsthand.
Are you gonna get up and leave? Or are you gonna leave?
I might.
But we'll throw a blanket over
Do
you.
a room check.
I haven't watched any more SNT5 footage. Not a damn thing. And they're
Nice.
releasing stuff for that all the time.
Nice.
Because you know what? I know I'm gonna play it.
What are you feeling, Huber? What do you think?
God of War.
God of War?
It's
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah.
Just a tease.
That
It doesn't
seems-
need to be anything out of control. You know.
Yeah.
I think
thing
of
is,
the
if they show
early.
anything, it's gonna be out of control.
It's gonna be out of control. Exactly. I think of some of the early Last of Us reveals. And like they were a little. The initial one was kind of long, but it's so like such a small little thing. I could see them doing that with God of War, just like a really small moment.
I could even go for like a little Bear McCreary montage, having him a couple themes.
Isn't he
And
not
then just-
doing it?
Is he not?
I thought he was off this one. Let me check.
Oh,
I hadn't heard, but
bummer.
wouldn't be surprised either way.
I mean, he got his job done, somebody can step in and do their thing. Blood, what are you feeling? What are you hoping?
Um,
I would say one.
I'm
but
always
apparently
I'm
that's
always
just
open to the
them
weird stuff.
shackling
but
you.
it's like the thing I'd like to see. I just think it's too early. It was whatever the
Well, apparently he is.
Asobu store Asobi Astrobot team. Those guys.
Nice.
I'd like to see their next thing,
Oh,
but
okay.
I think it's too
Sure.
soon.
Might be.
Yeah.
I know we're in a bit
That
of
Last
a.
of Us thing, the multiplayer thing, maybe we see a little bit
If
of
they
that.
teased that, I would be blown away. I know because they just, like we were saying, they just announced that they were ramping up. But if they're ramping up like that, that means a lot of
They might have the
pre-production
conceptual
and-
stuff down, yeah.
Yeah, they could have a little something.
I know this is a bit of a boy who cried wolf situation. I understand. But I really do think, for real this time, that Silent Hill will be there. So much so that I am willing to lay down a bet.
Oh boy, here we
I'm
go.
with you, dude.
I'm willing. Does anyone want to take
would-
me out on this bet?
Who the
This
heck-
is not.
I
This
can't
is
bet
not
against
happening.
Silent
Yeah, who
Hill,
the
baby.
hell is betting against Silent
Yeah.
Hill?
Okay, all right. What are we have to? That means we have to establish stakes.
Yeah, you know why? Because then it like makes it happen. You know that
Yeah.
that
True. It is
that-
true.
How you were incensed. I want to funnel that power
Yeah.
into making it actually happen.
Okay,
if
I
I
like-
gotta
I
fall
like
on the
that.
sword for Silent Hill, I'll do it.
All right. So
All right. Okay. All right. Kids are watching.
if Silent Hill shows up, you have to play through Silent Hill 2 before the end of 2021.
Oh, cool.
I think that's fair.
Cool.
All right, so
Well, so I don't have to stream this. I'm just playing it and then bring it to Frame Trap or something.
it's
or?
up to you. You can do what you want with
We
it.
can
Easier
stream the
probably if you
enhanced
just play it
edition
on your
again.
own.
Yeah.
Not to deprive the Twitch stream.
So
but
wait.
probably-
So you're
it's probably
saying
easier.
he's playing to the original Silent Hill?
No. Silent Hill 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have, just before, sometime before the end of 2021.
Okay. Do you have to? I have to say your
You have
stakes?
to. You have to come up with stakes for me.
I'm moderating a podcast. I will make a note.
Okay.
And then I'll get back to you maybe
Okay.
before the end of this podcast. Alan knows Silent Hill better than I do. Maybe Alan can come up with
Love this.
some stakes.
You have to walk up a burning staircase.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So I said
I'm
one.
not gonna do that.
Yeah.
I said one thing that was God of War, but I have a half thing. Well, I'm bringing a half, Jones.
Brandon will never allow it.
Director's cuts are out of control right now.
Oh yeah.
Any hope, just shoot me down now, any hope of a Last of Us Part 2 director's cut? Or there's no way.
That
No
sounds
way?
like a pretentious thing that they would do.
I do think it's fairly likely.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
That sounds exactly.
I thought maybe it was just multiplayer, but
No, that
now because
absolutely
director's cuts are becoming such a thing right now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I want like a Duke Nukem Forever director's cut, just like the most undeserving thing. Yeah.
Battleborn Director's Cut. You have to play PT sometime in the month of October in the streaming room, headphones, lights off.
Oh, that's amazing. Now I
What a
kind of don't
pleasure.
want it to be there because that's oh yeah, absolutely. Lights off.
What
Lights off.
What a treat.
Well then,
I mean, enough to like so you don't trip on yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Oh,
you
is it
and you got
screen
Devil
in
May
it?
Cry always in the back there with a nice cool
That's
blue
true.
glow.
That's true. I'll do
That's
that.
got your back.
I will do that. Yeah, easily.
We gotta get one of
Ben's gonna
those
do that anyway.
night vision cameras
Win
for
or
him.
Yeah, win or lose, I might do that anyway.
Yeah, even if it gets announced.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's a good bet when we
Yeah,
got
it is a good bet.
Halloween come up. You ready for Halloween just a little bit?
100%.
I'm
September.
So,
You know what I got in my car right now?
So excited.
Mellow cream pumpkins, locked and loaded.
Yeah, I saw
the
them at the
podcast
store,
tonight
just
and-
piled up already at the grocery store.
Oh, dude. You know what? Last year for Halloween, my wife and I were carving pumpkins while watching Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Nice. It's great. It's great.
That's a good pumpkin carving movie.
It really
Good mood,
is.
good mood.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I would like to see in some form would be Infamous.
Ooh.
I would.
Oh, well, then let's talk SSX. I mean, if we're throwing those out, sure.
But no, it's just yeah.
10 out of 10, Bloodworth. Great call.
Yeah, good call.
Do you think it's likely
I don't know how likely it is.
or possible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever, because I mean, like Sucker Punch obviously has been busy, so we wouldn't see anything directly from them. But maybe if we got like some side team, to remaster those suckers, put them in a higher definition.
Ooh.
I realize that I just spoke out against remasters and remakes, but I do like collections. I do like it
Yeah.
when it's all one bundle. I think it would be neat
So many.
to have like a PS5 enhanced, like here's every Infamous game,
Yeah.
every DLC, all in one. Boom.
Killzone,
Free for PS
Resistance.
Plus members.
Killzone and Resistance on that list as well.
Resistance would be crazy
Be
to come
so
back.
cool. Just the collection, like not even a new one, just
Just let people play 'em.
PS5. Yeah,
Just let people play 'em.
absolutely.
Are all the Resistance games on PS Now?
Probably.
Oh, really? Oh,
I don't know what the
Maybe.
PSP game is.
Right. That would make sense.
That was a cool game.
Yes.
cool. I didn't know that.
The
That is a
PSP
cool
one
game.
is very cool.
Yes.
Correct.
I might check those out.
Yeah.
Bloomberg loves their rumors. They love their
Oh, gosh,
business-based rumors. Most of these things can happen. This is potentially something that we're going to be hearing more details about down the road. But I got Ben, you on the panel. You're a big Sega fan. You were definitely someone familiar with the name Toshihiro Nagoshi.
I am.
He's been at Sega since 1989. He has his own studio. He worked on Sega Rally, Monkey Ball, Daytona Virtua Fighter, F-Zero GX.
Have you seen the meme that people have done where they're like, here he is working on Monkey Ball. Here he is working on Yakuza.
Looks
And
so
it's-
different.
yeah. It's just like when he's working on Monkey Ball, he just looks like this like charming, cute, like up and coming developer. And then the picture of him working on Yakuza, it's like this hard ass, like I just killed a man. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Somebody that you definitely associate with Sega.
Yeah, the beacon of Sega maybe right now.
That might be coming to an end because there are rumors that he is leaving Sega to join NetEase, which is a name that we don't talk about a lot of times on the podcast. Is NetEase a firm you are familiar with?
I've
An
heard
entity-
NetEase before. Yes.
Firm.
I can't. The thing is like I know the name. I know that they were working. They're from China.
Yes.
I can't like stick a game title on them.
You
off
and
the
I
top
are
of my
in the
head.
exact same
Yeah.
position.
Don't they make like phone pool games or something?
Potentially, yeah.
For some reason, I think of Guild Wars when I think of NetEase, but I think
Oh,
that's another
that might be-
name.
I think they might do some PC stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not NetEase. It's somebody else I'm thinking of. But
I'm looking at a list of their games, and I've never heard of any of them.
Right?
The only one that
I did a
like,
quick look.
Marvel Super War has words that I know. Knives Out is a movie I like, but it's nothing to do with this.
Right.
Wow.
So this would be a bigger move. Maybe Toshihiro Nagoshi. But then again, a lot of these companies are making tons of money
Yeah.
off things,
Well,
of course, that we're not
they're
very
working
familiar
with
with.
somebody who was formerly from Bandai Namco. They're like establishing more of a Japanese presence. So I don't know if like they would be in the same building or if Nagoshi would be doing a whole other team or what. But
Many are positioning NetEase as a rival to another large Chinese company that enjoys making big business moves and buying lots of things.
yes,
Can you take a guess at what that company is?
Tencent.
And I don't know if NetEase is kind of like a smaller robot and, Tencent's just going to like still destroy the city. And it's like, we tried, we threw something out in front of them and he just like walked all over them. And so while this could be potentially frustrating for Sega fans, one of the conversations that I kind of want to steer this toward because why he could be potentially making this move if this is actually happening, that stuff has not been determined yet. What is determined is that Tencent is scary and that is buying a lot of things. And so this is starting a conversation about how whether companies like NetEase kind of are in a position where they have to make decisions like this, and whether potentially Japanese companies should maybe step forward and, do something about, Tencent controlling a lot of things, having a lot of power in a lot of places that maybe people don't know. Do you sense that urgency? Do you see maybe why NetEase would be in a position to be forced to separate a man like this from a company that he loves or a community that loves him to be at this company?
This is a hard question to answer, but
It's a very long one too. Sorry.
I think the thing to keep in mind that is not always easy to have a full grasp on, because we are rooted in North America and our understanding of video games kind of comes through that lens. But now more than ever, I mean, video games are so globalized and markets are so different from each other. The Korean market, the Chinese market, the Japanese market, the North American market, all of them have extremely different tastes and extremely different ways that games are marketed and consumed. And so I think Nagoshi is somebody who's worked, who has an understanding of different markets and how to appeal to different groups. And I think that knowledge from industry veterans is very important. I think the more you're able to kind of have different games in different markets and kind of like spread out across the world, the better off you are.
Yeah. I mean, and just as we were saying, we are not that familiar with NetEase. They're a gigantic company.
Right.
But we don't know their games. So them establishing a Japanese branch with people that we are familiar with does potentially give them an inroad to make something that we like,
Right.
and make something, that more players in Japan likes. So, I could definitely see the strategy for them paying off. It's kind of, the only thing that's kind of crazy is it's like how many more years does Nagoshi have in him, having been at Sega for that long? Also, how does he adapt to another company's culture after having been at Sega for that long?
Dude, with the drip that Nagoshi wears, how are they going to adapt to him? I think is more.
Well, they seem like an adaptable company. I was just looking them up. They are one of the largest internet and video game companies in the world. NetEase also has an on-demand music streaming service, and they own several pig farms.
Yes.
Where's my truffle pig?
I love that there is farming
they really
agriculture.
Just refer to America like that, huh?
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
Brutal. Well, are they wrong? How much of a blow would this be to Sega's fan base? Or is this something that people would respect because it happens all the time? Old guard moves on and tries other business ventures, creates their own studio.
Obviously, I associate him with Yakuza right now, primarily, obviously. It's kind of a blow, but I'm dead in the middle on this because it's 16 years of the Yakuza. This has been going on for a really long time. So I think of Kojima with Metal Gear, no one should do one thing forever. So then I go to the other side of new time, new possibilities, new journey for him, So,
I'm not really, I don't think it will necessarily negatively impact something like Yakuza in the way that people think it will, because I just think he is in a position of seniority where, he's kind of built this thing up and been with Sega for so long that I think he can leave. And it's okay, the foundation and the direction for this series is already well established, and the team that is in place can confidently carry it forward.
He left the board of directors earlier this year. Yakuza in a very interesting place, in a place for tremendous growth based on the success of new franchises and trying new battle systems and all that stuff. So it makes sense for a lot of reasons, but again, Blood was really wanted me to stress this. This has not been confirmed. These are just rumors that are floating around there.
I would just like a new
Bloomberg's got their ear out, but
Valkyria Chronicles.
Okay.
Yes, that would be nice.
all right.
NetEase is also developing Diablo Immortal for iOS and Android with Blizzard.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Should I put that on the PlayStation Showcase? Are we going to get that Valkyria announcement?
No, we're not.
That's
No,
not.
we're not. I wish.
Also this week, Bit Summit is happening. Anything from Bit Summit? Daniel Bloodworth.
There was a game I saw for 5 or 10 seconds last night. I sent you a screenshot. 2 Strikes. It's almost like a black and white, like wall scroll looking fighting game with like samurais on each side.
Yeah.
And it's kind of got Bushido Blade inspirations where you're just like, I think like literally if you hit somebody twice, then they're down.
Pop,
like,
pop.
yeah.
Oh, that looks kind of cool.
Yeah. So there's that. And then there's Cursed to Golf.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which looks pretty fun. It's like essentially plays like a platformer, almost Metroidvania thing, but you're like whacking a golf ball around and all kinds of stuff happens. And
I did see an
it's hard to
IGN
describe, but it looks cool.
headline that really bummed me out. Just they were like, "This is the Dark Souls of golf games." And I was just like, "Oh my god!"
You got it.
And then
Come on,
there's
man.
a new Inti Creates has got a new Gunvolt game in the Gunvolt series, but I can't keep those names in my head.
Absolutely.
There's
That-
so many words in a title.
No one can blame you. No
Yeah.
one.
I can look it up here real quick. It's in my inbox. But yeah. So those are the things I saw. Gunvolt's always been a game that like I've like respected from afar, but haven't really dug into.
It's cool.
Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger IX2?
Yeah, that's the one.
Gunvolt is definitely
Wow.
if you like, your Mega Man X's or your Mega Man
Yeah.
Zeros, Gunvolt is definitely worth checking out for sure.
Check it out.
I like Gunvolt fan. Wow, out of
Oh,
nowhere.
I'm so into Gunvolt, dude.
We're gonna see more Gotham Knights DC fandom in
Yeah.
October. Didn't say anything about Suicide Squad, but we're definitely gonna see more Gotham Knights. Final Fantasy 14 themed fried chicken is now available in Japan. Apparently not the first time.
Is that
Kim
at
Joy baked.
KFC?
I saw Kim Joy baked a cake for the birthday from Bake Off. Kim Joy.
Kim Joy.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
She's one of my favorite bakers on that show of all time. She's incredible. She's a cartoon.
Loved it.
Naughty Dog is hiring, as we mentioned, across, quote, multiple disciplines for a standalone Last of Us multiplayer game. I mean, they just
Bieber
said a
in there.
multiplayer game, but
Pick a
they're
Bieber. Just hire him.
just,
Right.
bring him in. Voice
Bring
actor
nothing.
Voice actor Dave Jackson announced on Facebook that he was cast in Grand Theft Auto 6. Hooray for Dave! Oh, wait a minute.
Careful.
That's probably not how
Careful.
that's
Dude,
done.
can you imagine facing the wrath of Rockstar?
Oh my god.
Or it's just some crazy new. They're going Kojima style. Hey, how about that for an announcement? Doesn't
No.
seem like Rockstar's
Dude, that
style.
guy, like a SWAT team, burst into his home and tear
I hope
gassed.
not. Fan project Metroid Prime 2D has been predictably shut down by Nintendo. I remember finding out about that and thinking that was going to happen someday.
I have it on my hard drive. What's up?
Right.
What?
What's up, Nintendo?
You're in trouble. Shh.
If you're
gotta
gonna
finish up
make
this
one of
podcast.
those things, like you better be ready.
Self-incriminating.
Yep.
Yeah, like if
Come
you
at
tell
me,
the world
Nintendo.
about it, you better have that thing done in a month because it's gonna go away.
There's a mod that replaces the new CG faces in the Myst remake with the original FMV scenes.
I put it on my version.
Nice.
And it actually works pretty well. The sync on one of them was off. I haven't seen any others.
I
but
feel like
it feels better.
how could you not have the FMV? I feel
Dude,
like that's...
how could you not
Right.
have the FMVs?
Like if it looks fine, I don't see why not.
Is
It
there anything
looks
like
great.
that in Dead Space that it's just like, no, it's perfect. What was the icon in Souls that they changed from like a cat? To, it was like a picture of a cat or
yeah.
something, and
The
everyone was like, "What are you
cat
doing?" And they're like,
fall
"It was
ring or
clearly
whatever.
some like super old replaced thing that they put in there." It was
well,
in
not
the
only
Demon
that,
Souls,
dude,
right?
but like in the Myst remake, and you could forgive it when you're playing it on the Oculus Quest 2 or whatever, because you're like, okay, whatever, maybe they needed to save resources or something. But like, those CG models didn't look great. They were janky. So yeah.
Lego and Lucasfilm announced Lego Star Wars Battles coming exclusively to Apple Arcade. Apparently, this already got announced and then it went away, and now it's coming back. I guess Apple maybe started to deal with them or something, but it's coming on officially on Apple Arcade. We got to see gameplay of Marvel Midnight Suns,
Yeah.
and there's lots of hyperbole flying around.
Boy, is there. Dude,
Apparently,
oh
Marvel
my
is
God.
the greatest storytellers. They're the greatest storytellers.
Oh, yeah. Also,
Period.
And
like,
Firaxis,
Period.
Firaxis
Yes.
are like the experts and
yes, the
and
kings,
strategy
yeah.
experts.
Oh my
Right.
God.
Like, okay.
And yes, they're very, very good, but like, it just was a weird vibe.
Well, and then the funny thing is like I'm watching this thing, and I told Ben, it's like this feels like Fire Emblem Three Houses right now.
Oh, yeah.
This
Yeah.
is Marvel Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yep. A lot of
Yo,
people.
sick. That
You've
sounds
never
awesome.
created a Marvel character before in a video game. Like,
Yeah,
what?
that
What?
I
What?
don't
Yeah,
buy. There's
yeah. It
something
was
wrong.
like, wait a minute.
Excuse me?
No, that's
That's not true.
yeah.
Yeah. Also looks amazing. I'm really excited about it. But also not true.
we're the first Marvel video game.
Every NBA team's public address announcer will be in NBA 2K22.
I love it. I
That is
love
top
watching
tier.
that trailer.
I don't know any of
So
these
good.
names, but
That's top
this is
tier.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's tough. Too.
Yeah, that's
and,
a lot
and,
of good
and
detail.
technically a lot of work, I'm sure.
Well, those microtransactions paid for it.
yeah.
Scooby-Doo versus Mortal Kombat was basically confirmed with the K by Ed Boon on Twitter.
Sort of, not really.
I mean, he posted a custom animatic of Shaggy taking down Scorpion, right? It was in Sub-Zero.
Yeah,
Scorpion?
it's from the new animated film.
Right.
So that when the Warner Bros. Logo pops up, that's what happens.
Okay.
So I think that might be the extent of it. But apparently, I went down the rabbit hole on this on some
Official
stories,
canon.
and this is some meme that started 10 or 12 years ago or something, to where there was some Scooby-Doo movie where Shaggy got really powerful, and a bunch of people was like, oh, he's like Super Saiyan, and then that somehow turned into a Mortal Kombat thing. And yeah, so meme upon meme upon meme, and then now it's the official start of this Warner Brothers.
I wouldn't put it past Netflix if Netflix scooped that up or somebody else.
I just don't see him getting a full move set. It's Come on.
When are we seeing MK12?
Like if it was Shaggy, and you could call in Scoob to attack, I mean,
Well,
that's pretty freaking
And you could
hype.
You could
got,
call
like,
in the
variations.
pantheon of
Yeah.
monsters.
You could have your Scrappy variation.
Dude!
And your friendship at the end, you just smoke up the other person.
Yeah, you bring in the mystery machine.
Yeah,
and
you
smoke
just get
up.
high with the other guy.
Actually,
You're
that's something-
smoking him, just smoking weed in the van.
I don't know who it would be, but I could actually see that happening, to where Shaggy would be somebody's friendship move or something.
Oh, for sure.
They're not smoking, they're grilling burgers, man. They got a grill in there, man.
Hey, Shao Kahn!
Some good sound bites. Some good Benmore sound bites in this episode. You did a Flippy one earlier that I was like, oop, I'm using that one.
Oh,
It's like,
Slippy?
I guess I'm using that one. There's Slippy, sorry. And finally, 2 years after Microsoft promised, Final Fantasy 13 is coming to Game Pass.
Yes, I'll finally play it.
Let's play a game!
You didn't warn me.
Mysterious monsters.
From Nirav. Hey, allies, got a game for you. It's called Tag That. I've collected here a few well-known games on Steam with their user-defined genre tags.
Oh, God.
Jones will read out the
my.
genre tags, and any of the allies can
This-
guess what game it is, and they get the point. To help narrow it down, these are all AAA
So
games.
impossible.
These are all AAA games from the last 5 years. These
Okay,
are
that
big.
helps.
These are big games. We have
That
all
narrows
played
it.
them. We've talked about a couple of them already on this podcast
Okay.
tonight.
Okay. All right.
First one to guess it gets the point. I respect Nirav. Number 1, walking simulator. Open world.
Days Gone.
Story rich. Great soundtrack.
This has got to be Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Atmospheric.
Valhalla?
Post-apocalyptic.
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding.
Okay.
Walking
Nice. Well done.
Nailed it.
Well done.
Nailed it.
Open world. RPG. Adventure.
Valhalla.
Single player. Fantasy. Character customization.
Genshin Impact.
Dragons.
Skyrim.
Skyrim.
Oh,
Tis.
shit. Yeah.
Tis.
me by a
Not from the
hair.
last
Get
five.
in.
Well, I guess, 5 years, every 5 years it could be again. But yeah.
Co-op. Adventure. Split screen.
Outward.
Puzzle. Action.
That was a pull.
We were
Takes
here
Two?
together.
Platformer.
Yeah,
Bud got
next. What is it?
Takes Two?
it. It
It takes two.
Nice.
There's not a lot of split screens.
There's not. That's why I said split
That's why I
screen.
said outward.
Action. Story rich. Beat 'em up.
Funny tag.
Great soundtrack.
Choose Reach 4.
Open world.
Shit.
RPG.
Yakuza.
Yeah. Yeah, Yakuza.
Yakuza 0. But yeah, I was you were there. Mini games was the last one. Cinch that. Flight.
Microsoft
Flight Simulator.
Space.
No Man's Sky.
Elite Dangerous.
Outer Wilds.
Multiplayer.
Outer Wilds.
Shit.
Oh.
Among Us.
EVE Online.
FTL.
VR.
Ah,
Elite Dangerous.
ah,
Sci-fi.
ah.
Star Wars Squadron.
Action
Star Wars
simulation.
Squadron.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, Ben was gonna sneak in with that one.
Yeah, well, maybe the tag should be Star Wars, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe it should be Star Wars.
I
Just for
thought
the
one
record,
of
Isla
us
got
would
that one?
get that.
Yeah, I know.
Was that you or did Blood? Did you say that?
That was
I
blood.
thought I
said-
honestly
I had-
thought
I said
Isla had it with
Squadrons,
Elite
but I don't
Dangerous.
know.
Yeah.
Blood got it.
Finally.
Squadrons right before I did.
Anime. Hack and slash.
Scarlet
JRPG.
Nexus.
Scarlet Nexus. Oh.
Great soundtrack.
Nier.
Adventure.
Automata.
Story rich. Colorful.
Persona
Genshin
5?
Impact.
Close. I'll give it to
Persona 4.
Persona 5
SMT.
Strikers.
Persona 5 isn't on Steam, you fools.
I don't know.
Persona 5
you
Strikers
don't
is
know.
not?
Strikers is. I reviewed it on PC.
Strike.
And it was great.
I didn't know 5's not on PC.
5 is not on PC.
Shows what I know.
Strikers is.
Blood
I
took
didn't
that
know
one.
that.
Good job, Blood.
Woo!
Good
just
job,
just
Blood.
3 and 4 are on PC.
3 is not on PC.
Three's-
Only 4.
Only 4. Wow.
Yeah.
It is now time for Love and Respect.
Love and respect.
From Tommy Lee. No, not that one. Last
Tommy
week
Lee
it was
Jones.
revealed.
I'm going to pretend this is from Tommy Lee Jones.
Same.
either.
I'm hearing
Tommy Lees.
this in his Two-Face voice. This whole thing right here.
The look he gives Captain Carter or Agent Carter when he brings the book by at the end. He holds it, just kind of looks at her and sorry, walks away. Heartbreaking.
my
wife. I don't care.
Last week it was revealed the director for most
Oh, yes, it's such a good line.
and now for something completely different. The director of most of the Etrian Odyssey games, Shigeo Komori, is directing. This got my friends to discuss what's next for the Etrian series. Was the second screen map the only thing that made it distinct from the other first-person dungeon crawlers? Does Atlas need to establish a unique look for the series moving forward? Or would surprising events like a squirrel stealing a warp item and Yuzo Koshiro music be enough to make it stand out? Also, what separates the good FPDCs from the average ones? Curious what the panel thinks about this.
There's a point where I got asked this question like every stream that I did.
I
back.
didn't
What do you
understand
think?
this
Yeah.
question.
It's back.
No, I mean, absolutely. I think as ports have shown time and time again, you can technically change things to make it work. So, like, Etrian Odyssey was designed specifically for the DS and 3DS and the dual screen nature, but I have to imagine they can reorient it in a way where you're either switching between screens or doing something to make it work. As far as like standing out, though, that's kind of an odd question because to me, Etrian Odyssey already immediately stands out. Like, it is a very specialized thing.
There's not a lot of games in that style
No.
coming out right now.
No, and the only other things that are in that style are things made by the Etrian Odyssey team, like Persona Q and Persona Q2. And so, extremely, like, Etrian Odyssey is about as niche as it gets. But excellent series. Not nearly enough people have played it, and so I would love to see it come to, say, Switch, for example, and just have it be exposed to a wider audience. But in terms of like needing to do something to stand out, I don't know that is necessary. I don't think it's suffering a lot of competition.
I once thought that like a lot of DS and 3DS franchises weren't going to make their way to Switch because that's got to be really hard just to like put those two screens together. But like, I think they've had most success with a lot of the franchises doing that. You know,
How
Neo
did,
World Ends With You. I know is like a
How
sequel,
did that
but
sell? Neo World Ends With You.
Oh, I don't know if we've seen any
We'll
kind
find
of
out, yeah.
reports on that. It might be too soon for that anyways. That we might not see it until like a Square Enix like quarterly call or something. But even then, I feel like they usually only talk about the heaviest hitters on those things. But yeah, I don't think it's that unusual to see DS and 3DS franchises come over because I feel like a lot of games didn't do a whole lot to take those advantages of the dual screen nature.
Yeah.
Whereas The World Ends With You and Etrian Odyssey are kind of exceptions.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, with The World Ends With You, it's like very curious, like what are you doing? Like, you're gonna put this on something else without a touchscreen? How's that gonna work? But
From Cool Down Gaming, this is my first time submitting something for Love and Respect when I saw Ben and Huber were panelists. I knew I had to inquire about this. Recently, I purchased Yakuza 0, Kiwami, and Kiwami 2 from a PSN sale. I've always wanted to get into the series and figured this was the perfect opportunity. I got about 10 hours into Yakuza 1 and was loving every bit of it. and would simply put my PlayStation to rest so I could pick it back up from where I left off. Eventually, when it was time to switch to another game, I just closed the app, assuming the game had an autosave feature.
Oh no.
This was obviously not true. I was gutted to learn I had lost about 7 hours of progress upon rebooting. As much as I love the game, going through everything again is a daunting task. Almost makes me want to not play the game anymore.
you can
Skip those cutscenes.
Yeah, you
You'll be
skip the-
back
you skip
in a
those cutscenes.
flash.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay.
You skip those things.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
A good
Yeah.
tip. More specifically, though, what is a time where you lost a lot of progress on a game? How did you get over the mental hurdle of having to replay a large section?
I just had this happen. Oh, this question is coming at an opportune time. So last week, I had been like picking away at Watch Dogs Legion for like a year, and like it had gotten to a point where it's like I'm far enough in this game that I should just finish it. And I got to like the final batch of missions, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna finish it up tomorrow. Then I booted it back up. I had lost every bit of progress that I had made, which doesn't make sense because you can't manually save in that game.
what the
You
hell?
cannot manually save, so I don't know what the hell happened. But it wasn't that bad because kind of like we just said, where I skipped dialogue, I skipped cutscenes, and I already knew what to do. You know, I knew routes to get into things, so it did not take that long at all to get back to where I was. But that was super annoying.
Yeah, it is.
And it was not the only time playing Watch Dogs Legion that I've lost progress. And this would be fine if there was just a manual save option. Don't know why it isn't in the game.
That is
weird.
really weird.
There is for Assassin's Creed.
So
That
bizarre.
Did you have the same character?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it was the same everything, yeah.
bizarre.
So bizarre.
That happened to me with Control because I started it and I beat it, or I was like almost at the end, or I'd already beaten it with the review copy that they sent early to me. And then when the real copy came out, Epic Store kind of like half updated, but then it just didn't work anymore. And then when I finally got it to work, my save was gone. Luckily, I was able to like dig through files and find it again, but I was just like, it was kind of weird because I was at the end of the game still, but none of my skills or unlocks or hidden things were there. So it was just like, because they gave us, I think, a save for the end. Yeah, it was really weird. Also, Tomb Raider. I lost Tomb Raider right at the final boss on my memory card back when I was a kid.
Oh man.
It like corrupted and I lost it. So I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Having played through the PS1 original Tomb Raider not that long ago, that game is really fucking hard, and being
Yeah.
restricted only to save crystals when you know on the PC version you can save it anytime. Oh man, what a difference between versions of
Yeah,
the game.
what the?
I had my Zeitgeist hour stolen from Grand Theft Auto Online. That was rough. You know, just like right at the beginning, just jumping in and playing so many hours of
Yeah.
that game. I got to level like 30, 40 something. Whoop, gone.
That sucks.
And the best was like,
Franken-Thug.
it's really, I was
Never
really
forget.
close to a lot of people at Rockstar, and all of them were like, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry.
I'll never forget.
But we're
Franken-Thug.
friends.
Is Franken-Thug still online? Is
Save
that
my
video
character.
somewhere?
I don't know what Frankenthug is.
I had the character kill
his
itself at the
character
end, so
got
like it was a little
amazing.
rough. I don't know if I would really take that one out. It's a little rough. It's fun though. I think you joined me like for part of that. I think
I
you like
think
ran.
so. I think so.
My
Also
first-
couldn't play that at Easy Allies because I like used Saturday Night by Elton John. Just seemed like the perfect thing for me to run my character into the ground. I was like, hit it, Elton.
I've told this story before, but my first ever Phantasy Star Online character got hacked, and it was like the first online character that I had ever like put tons and tons of time into and like really cared about, and is just gone,
It's devastating.
just gone.
When we did the Final Fantasy Retro, my buddy Todd and I like kind of divvied up games. It was like, okay, you do that game and I'll play this. I've never played that game and you can play that again. And he was like, yeah, I wish I could give you my PlayStation 1 memory cards because I had Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 and Tactics all saved every single moment from all of those games. But when I had my car shipped to LA when I first moved out here, somebody broke in, stole
man.
all of my stole my PlayStation 1 console and the memory cards. Just take the console. Just take the PS1, man. Those are not expensive memory cards, dude.
Man.
Those are memories, man.
I am
literally,
glad we have
literally
moved on
memories.
from memory cards.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm glad.
All you cloud children. Those are rough days, rough times.
We're all the same age. We all had memory cards.
I'm talking to the people listening to the podcast. We make
Oh,
this
okay,
podcast for
okay.
children.
Yeah,
is
we
what I'm
make
saying.
this podcast for cloud children.
Cloud children.
We have
Well, on
a
that-
Cloud Children.
The N64, we had the controller packs in it, so it's like you had to swap between
Oh my
the
God.
memory card and
Yeah.
the rumble.
There were some stupid moments on the N64 because like most
NWO,
games
right?
on N64
the
would save
game-
on the
or
card.
what was it,
and
No
every
Mercy was the
once in a
64
while
one, or-
you'd
Yeah,
need
yeah.
a memory card.
All those you had to have a memory
Yeah.
card, I think. One of them was like, I was so excited to play with our friends. We all like got the game and we're like
Yeah.
just couldn't play it because we couldn't save it to a memory card we never owned for
That was
any
like
other
me with-
N64 game.
That was like me with Turok.
Yeah.
Did Turok
You
on
need a memory
N64
card.
Need a memory card?
Yep. Yep.
Quest 64 needed a memory card.
From Andy Schreiner. Hey, allies. Back again with more DDR stuff. Recently, the reigning world champion, Chris for Life, all one word, achieved something nobody thought possible, completing 100% scores on all 15 and 16 songs in the current arcade release. For context, this involves making one-frame window inputs hundreds of times over the course of a few minutes, and repeating about 250 times with songs and charts of a wide variety of chart styles and sync patterns.
Do you think this got him laid?
Sick.
I don't know. Andy,
Really
report
awesome.
back.
He wouldn't have any energy.
Given the sheer physical nature and sense of rhythm of this game, as well as the accessibility issues in the US, would you consider this to be gaming's greatest achievement? Or is there another one that comes to mind, such as a speed run or some other perfect playthrough? Love and respect. P.S. You might recognize Chris as the first person to 100% through the Fire and Flames on Guitar Hero 3 way back in the day.
Wow.
The Fire and the Flames.
That's a good
Through
song.
the Fire and Flames. Yeah. Is that
Is this gaming's greatest
Dragon
achievement?
Force? Dude. Oh my god.
Can Chris be topped?
That's pretty hype.
That's pretty good.
I feel like the blindfolded no hit Dark Souls runs are pretty wild. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, any blindfold
blindfold
runs,
run
when
of
you watch
any
that stuff,
game.
it's like, what the
I don't-
heck?
I don't mean to, because I think what Chris did is an incredible achievement, but I think I will always give the edge to competition against other human players.
Sure.
So like, you know, I think of the Daigo parry. That to me is still the
Okay, wait.
greatest
Let me
moment.
guess what that is. Is that the Chun-Li or the Ryu thing where he did the spin attack and the guy just blocked? Like,
It
what was that? What was that
it was
fighting
a-
game moment?
It was at Evo, and it was Justin Wong versus Daigo, and Daigo was playing Ken, and he had like, you know, no health left, and Justin Wong did the super, and he parried every single hit
Yeah.
of the super. That because in the moment at that level, you know, any tournament, like you figure you have to get to that point, you've already expended so much energy. That is the most amazing.
And there's like no good footage of that. That's just like a really.
No,
just,
no,
they
there's
just-
there's
great
footage of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
all the
yeah.
clips I've seen are just shaky and
People
all the
popping
audio
off.
blows
Oh,
out.
you can
and, like,
watch it right now.
Yeah,
It's a good moment.
That's amazing.
I just don't follow fighting game tournaments, and yet I've seen that, and you can
Yeah.
just you can feel
Yeah.
that room just kind of explode.
This is sort of related, but Veritasium, the YouTube channel, has a video right now about particles and stuff, and how a particle hitting an N64 game caused like this crazy glitch in a speed run of Mario that like teleported Mario up to another level, and it was basically because like a particle from outer space hit the game.
Oh,
Whoa.
like a Muon.
Yeah. And
Got it.
like in that video I learned that like maybe one or two blue screens of death a month are caused by that. Like
Whoa.
Interesting.
it's wild.
That is wild.
Time for bets. Next week's bet, Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt launches on September 7th. That's 2 days before we record the podcast. When we record the podcast, how many people are going to be watching that on Twitch? This is a battle royale in a well-established role-playing franchise. I see dollar signs all over this. I see viewership high. What is it, Michael Huber? How many people are going to be watching?
Number of the beast.
666.
666 people?
I want. Hopefully we'll have more than that. Ben Moore, what do you think?
9K.
9K, nice. Isla Hink,
Oh, that's your camera. 12K.
12K.
I'm going low. 431.
Ooh, yeah.
430. Wow.
5K. Yeah, so that's not somewhere in the middle, I guess.
Damn it, Bloodworth.
Okay. All right.
Blood
Undercut
got
me.
the low, yeah.
This week's bet, Lake launched on September 1st. That was yesterday, right? Did it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I wanted to know how long it would take someone who was not on this podcast to drive around the lake. I got 2 drives. I passed
Fly
this,
around that
I passed this over to Brad, who just got back from jury duty and was like, I'll do this if you want me to. But Don and Damiani were already on it. Ben Moore bet 7 minutes could take to circumnavigate that lake.
I think it's
Michael
short.
Huber bet 8 minutes, 47 seconds. Daniel Bloodworth bet 7 minutes, 2 seconds. Isla Hink bet 12 minutes. I bet 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
That's a good bet.
It took Don 3 minutes and 33 seconds to drive around the lake.
Nice.
It took Damiani 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Damiani originally told me 4 minutes, but that was the length of the clip that he recorded that you can watch or listen to at the end of this podcast. So if you're listening to the end of this podcast and you just hear like, that's Damiani cruising around the lake.
Cruising around.
But I love that he updated me later. He was like, the clip was 4 minutes. It actually took me 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And it's like, okay, you beat Don. Congratulations. The average was around 3:27, but both of those are closer to mine. So I won that one.
Proud of you.
Yeah. Bringing our scores too. Jovial Penguins 23.
Of course I've got lawyers. They're like nuclear weapons. I've got them because everyone else has, but as soon as you use them, they screw everything up.
Now, you know what? Now I want to start doing quotes.
But these are just Danny DeVito quotes now, right?
Yeah, they're just Danny DeVito.
No, I'm gonna.
quotes.
How long have you been doing that? 3 podcasts? I picked up on
I
that.
don't know.
Snakes don't belong in Alaska.
Okay.
What's the...
Vociferous Beaver 16.
Nom, 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 nom.
Cool. I'm going to wrap up this podcast. But first, let me tell you about patreon.com/easyallies. For just $1, you can get the ad-free version of this podcast along with super extra. If you're listening to this on Sunday, if you're getting the public version of this, we went off on Goaties for a good long while. And only patrons are getting that because that was the last final love and respect question. You get all of that stuff and you get no ads for just $1 if you want to get the podcast on Sundays. You also get a ton of exclusive shows. We've been producing exclusive shows for over 5 years. You get access to all of that stuff.
Trash Babies.
That is chronicled. Thank you to Daniel Bloodworth who makes a list of all that stuff, including Trash Babies. Our shout-out tier is our very top tier at patreon.com/easyallies. And we have what I like to call the Fantastic Four of our shout-out tier. Thank you to all of these people. L. Thanos, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, Caleb Togi Crawford, and Nick. Shout out.
Shout out.
Out.
I'm going to wrap up this podcast with anything I'd like to promote. Any final word I've disagreed with, want to reiterate, or just popped into my head. And I'm going to sign off with my trademark sign-off. I'm going to promote my preview of Lost in Random. I sat down with Daniel Bloodworth. We talked about that. That was a fun game because it's a very stylistic game, and it's a type of game you can look at and be like, that game looks cool, but does it play cool? And so I talked about both. Talked about story and the design of some very interesting combat, some fun tactical action combat. Looking forward to that coming out this month. Final word on anything? I'm going to miss Michael Huber and Ben Moore because I'm going to be on a podcast soon, and maybe I'll get one of you. Maybe I'll get both again, but this has been a fun ride.
We're just gonna show up and
on the last
you're
4
gonna have to deal with
podcasts.
it.
Yay!
Yeah.
It's been fun dealing with you this episode.
We just like stand
Yeah,
in the
we're-
back, like we're waiting. Like,
And just like whispering underneath. I don't know about that.
They're whispering. They're writing. Huber's writing something down. Cheers.
Just hearing Slippy Toad go like bitch or just like anything, it'd be great.
That game's gonna be $30 in 2 months.
A gunnel is an elongated, laterally compressed fish.
Hey, Shokan.
Anime.
The mighty Ambrose River. In a few days, I won't even need that map. Let me think. Where was Bear Creek again? used to think our Spanner Dam was just as big and famous as Hoover Dam. Then I visited Hoover Dam. Stan's Diner. Wait, it's called Moe's Diner now?